everybody, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Chris Yee.
And I'm Camilla.
Today we're taking a look at another game from Druid City. And I say another because it's another Wonderlands war game, except it's not. It's called Madcala, which is based on their Manny Tremblay's depiction of the Alice in Wonderland universe. I believe there are 4 or 5 games that they've done now about this. Maybe there's 3.
I think there's 4.
4?
There's Off With Their Heads, Madcala, Wonderlands War.
Wonderlands War Duel.
Wonderlands War Duel. Maybe there's just 4. But anyhow, it's a cool world. I like their depiction of Alice in Wonderland a lot. Wonderland's War looks fantastic. This uses that same art style. So I'm going to show you how to play this game. It's a duel game, 1v1, where you will play one of the guests at the tea party, and you're smacking the nonsense out of the other person. Here's how it plays. In this game, each player is going to pick a character. So here I have the Red Queen against a Jabberwocky, but we also have the Cheshire Cat, the White Rabbit, Alice herself, and the Mad Hatter. And you will take that character's card, put it here. You'll have health. So you see her health is 25. And then she has 3+1 cards, which you will put in front of you. And maybe some extra stuff. For example, she comes with this rose token, and she puts 3 crown tokens out of 6 on top of this card. The middle board here is set up like Madcala, and this is what we're going to talk about on how you play the game. On a player's turn, they have some optional actions, but you must always choose one of the plates on your side of the table, pick up all the gems in that plate, whether they're yours or your opponent's, all the tokens there, drop 1 off in each plate going clockwise, and then you take the action in the one that you stopped. If I picked up these 3 in a future turn, I would drop 1 here. You skip your opponent's plate, 1 here, 1 here, and then I would take that action there. When you have a doubler chip, when you have doubler chips in one of the things that you're moving, you'll place a doubler chip last. Other than that, you can pick where you drop them off, and then you can take that action twice. The actions are pretty simple. This lets you draw a commoner card. This one brings 2 more of your tokens that you put on your home plate that you have in reserve. This one does 2 damage to the enemy. This heals you a health or refreshes one of your +1s. And this one does 2 damage and heals 1. So you're going to pick, the actions can be on your opponent's side of the table also. I mentioned +1s. When you use a +1 card, you're simply going to pay the shards that are mentioned on it. So this one here costs 1 shard. So I can spend that shard from anywhere. It can be on my opponent's side of the table if I want to. And then this one what says, tuck the top 2 cards of the commoner deck face down under the Red Queen without looking at them. Okay, so I do that, and then I flip this card over. I'm going to have to use this action to refresh that to get it back again before I can use it again. Also, I've removed shards from the board, so I'm going to need to go to more spots like this to get those shards back on the table. The Red Queen has a special ability where basically you can discard a card underneath it to do whatever actions on the rows here. So it might get rid of your opponent's shard or do a damage, and every time you use it, you flip it over. The King of Hearts, you can remove one of these when you heal to do whatever this action is. Ooh, draw 2 commoner cards. Ooh, get 3 more shards, or heal 2. Once all the shards of this are off, it gets turned over and you don't get to use it again. There are other cards like that. The Jabberwocky, for example, has a corrupted card here, which you can use 3 times. Place a shard from here into a space on your side of the playmat to draw a commoner card. And once they're off, you can't get that one again. But most of the cards that you have a cost in shards. You pay it, you flip it, and then you have to unflip it to be able to use it again. Commoner cards, the Red Queen puts them under her to do this special action. But most of the time, you're going to be drawing commoner cards into your hand. And these can be played as bonus actions. And you can see, get rid of a card, do a damage, get rid of a shard, put 3 shards somewhere, and get rid of a card and draw a card. So there's all sorts of actions, just does 3 damage, because cold tea is the worst. Or 2 damage and get rid of a shard. And these can be played as bonus actions on your turn. That is it. You're going to take these actions and go back and forth consistently until you knock your opponent's health down to 0. The first person to do that is the winner. Each of the characters comes with a guide that explains how to use them. So, for example, the Red Queen guide explains how she has these extra tokens and card soldiers. The Jabberwock that she's playing against can put a token in between 2 spaces. And Alice and the White Rabbit have different special abilities. Alice, whenever you draw a commoner card, can refresh one of her cards. So they all have a very different feel to them. Production-wise, I have somewhat mixed feelings. I think Druid City does a
Oh.
great job with production.
Uh-huh.
I don't love this box size. I really don't.
Yeah.
I know why it's this size. It's because of that playmat.
Yes.
Yes. And I'd rather the playmat fit in the box than this be a box this big and also
Yes.
like figure out what to do with this thing. Roll it up and put it somewhere and don't lose it.
I just think I could have been okay with a normal size box and a board.
I would have been okay
Playmat's
because
not always necessary.
that would have thinned the board, right? It wouldn't have made it. No, it would have made it shorter.
you could make it a
actually. Yeah.
four-fold
So,
board.
yeah, it would go to board and not mat. So I'm with you. I think the box size is irksome, but I really do appreciate that the mat fits in it.
Yes.
The other components are mostly great. The chips are great. The shards, well, you've seen them in 100
shards,
games.
the
The
card
art is
quality.
fantastic. They give you a player aid card. They tell you a card. However, the rules are not particularly strong.
Yes.
They're not thorough.
I agree.
And every single one of us, we've played this all separate from each other, have had these same few questions that we've...
Yeah.
Well, you play a card that in the turn that you draw it? Yes. Can you play multiple cards in the same turn? Yes. It doesn't say it here, but it says it on this earlier page
Right.
of the rule book.
Can I move your shard? If your shard is the last one, do I still get the double bonus? Does it go there? You know, it's just the rules are clunky and lead you to the rule book a lot of times. And I appreciate that the rule book is very simple and you're going to feel ready to play it very quick. But then when you sit down to play it, you're like, oh wait.
That's what it is. I think you can easily understand the game.
Yes.
It just doesn't handle all the edge cases,
I
and
agree.
there's a decent amount of them.
Yeah.
I think that's fixable. I mean, I might have to go online and find an FAQ, but just keep that in mind. I'm of the mindset that for me, if I'm playing with someone, would be like, this is how we're going to resolve this. You know, if we're doing it for both players.
Right.
That does not say that's a good thing. Keep that in mind.
For
I'm
your
not-
personal copy in your own home, you can decide, hey, we both good with it this way? Cool, that's how we're going to play it. You can definitely keep the game going in your own home environment or something like that. But looking at the game and the quality, it was a pretty big and quite frustrating snag that first play.
And sometimes people say, well, you guys get hung up on rule books too much. They're that important.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that last night I was going through a pile of games and I opened up the rule book and went, and then, and it just kind of brings you down when you're trying to.
Yeah.
Again, this one, you can learn to play it. That's not a problem. It's very easy to understand. It's just that every character is different. I kind of wish there was a little FAQ card per character. That would have been helpful.
Which it does have it for the actual character itself, how your character plays, but not necessarily. Sometimes there's discrepancy. I mean, the Jabberwock is the one I'm thinking of right now, you know, with what does this card say and what does it actually mean on here on the player aid card that comes with the Jabberwock specifically. And what does that actually mean? There's no resolution to that. I think a leaflet that explains per card, because there's not that many cards in here. You could have done an explanation for each card just
the
in
leaflet
case.
would have been nice, I guess. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that concept. Yeah. The game itself, whether you like it or not, it's definitely a punch the other person in the face the whole time. I'm taking away your health. I'm making your shards come off the board. I'm flipping your card or stopping you from flipping a card. Half the player powers are like, I'm putting this token out. Now you're poisoned. I'm doing this. There's two other characters that aren't in here, Tweedledum and Tweedledee and the Caterpillar, I think. And those are also, again, it's in your face. So you have to know that going in. And the other thing is, do you like Madcala? Because this game is all about that.
It is. To me, the game feels like you're playing a TCG, but instead of the TCG card play, you're playing Madcala instead. You know, the
accept that,
feelings
yeah.
of the game are, well, thank you, are very similar.
Sorry, what I meant is
don't accept it.
I agree with it.
No. Big disagreement.
You are allowed to
I can have
that
an opinion.
That's a great summary. But yeah.
That sounds terrible. All right.
Yeah, that is a good way of describing it because at first, I have so much fun just kind of doing my own thing and I realize like, oh, I need to be punching you.
Right.
I need to not just be like, draw a card. Ooh, this is fun. Activate, refresh this. It all needs to be in the service of knocking down your health.
Yeah.
But for me, that really works because I don't love when you're doing a card battling game and it just kind of feels like half of the cards are like, undo what you did. Like those types of, it doesn't feel that way because I like the movement of, and the inertia of the actual Madcala pieces. I find that combination to be really satisfying, but I think I've enjoyed pretty much every single board game that has a Madcala type mechanism, whether it's Crusaders or Ostia or Trajan.
I agree. I'm a sucker for it.
Yeah.
I'll allow that.
And this is the most different game that uses that Madcala type of thing but I still find that part to be front and center and really enjoyable.
I also think the characters are very different. That helps. And the game is very developed. So
Yes.
you're never going to hit for more than, I don't think on a turn you can hit for much more than 6 damage. But 6 damage feels huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's also rare. That's probably not going to happen more than one turn time a
Right.
game. Yeah.
But I mean, a hit for 4, that feels really good. And the game lets you heal, but the healing definitely is less than the attack. So the game is going to end.
Yes.
It's not a drawn out. There's not a character who's like, well, you hit me, and every time you hit me, I heal. You can heal, but the game is progressing to that end. And most of the games I've played, I don't know, I've been whooped a few times, but most have been pretty close.
I think, they've all been within 1 or 2 turns. It could have gone either way, And I will give it, I feel like it is more of a tug of war, back and forth,
Yes.
rather than, like Chris was saying, not so much like I cancel, I undo what you do. You hit me, just kidding, you don't. But you're actually benefiting a lot of times. So there is more. It's negative interaction, but a positive twist for you. So like every time you heal, the other person does this or vice versa. There's something like if you do this, the other person takes this. So yeah, maybe you're taking damage, but you're also drawing a card, something like that. So it has that positivity to it as well within the character builds.
Maybe you can do 10 damage on a turn. I'm trying to think
There's no math
I'm trying to
around.
think of the math, I think. But you would have to have a lot of things in the right spot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That'd
but
be pretty epic.
I love the character's differentiation. I also like that you have 3 cards for that character, or 4
Yes.
when you include the character, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's not that complex.
Yes.
This does this does this. Once you learn your opponent's character, they don't necessarily feel balanced, but I assume they are as time goes by. And yeah, I think the 2 extra characters I threw in instantly because who cares? Just 2
Right.
more characters. And there's 6 in the box, and then 2 more makes 8. That's a lot of replayability for me.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah.
What do you think?
This one didn't really work for me. I'm going to come down at a 5.5 on it. I think it just felt too close to a TCG for my personal taste.
Sure.
It's one of those things I can appreciate the character design. I love the world. I think is absolutely gorgeous. And I'm really a fan of Wonderland's War in general. Like I enjoy that original game. Used to be my top 100. I like the duel, but this one just did not work for me. I grew up playing Madcala. I even love that, but I didn't like it boiled down to just a mechanism in this and brought too much of that TCG into it that I just found between the barrier to entry, that first
Trading
play.
card game.
Thank you. Yes. Sorry. With that barrier to entry of the rule book, it definitely, after I had that first play, I had to like almost cool down a little bit and be like, I know I need to play this, a couple more times, but I don't really want to, and I am glad I did because it does get smoother with repeated gameplay, but that TCG feel just doesn't go away, and that's not within my taste. So for me, it's a 5.5.
Okay, that's interesting because it's not that type of dueling battling isn't always in my wheelhouse either. But I really like the way that's done in this, and it does work for me. And I think I'm giving this one an 8. It's a very, very good score. The biggest things holding it back from going higher are the rule book in its current state. That's kind of the big one, right? Because I think it's a very smooth game otherwise. I really like the enough feeling of asymmetry. I like that every character has one special power card that seems to just kind of get under the skin of the other player, but not in an awful way, right? Depending on taste, I think. Right?
Yes, of course.
Shutting down a space. You can't land here. Like, well, I can play around that. And I'll find a way to kind of like get rid of it. And it allows you to feel clever. It's enough restriction and enough kind of like meanness, but it never feels like what you said. It never feels like just like cancel, undo what you did. The game's always progressing. I like it for that.
I really like this. This is a 9 for me.
Wow.
I love dual games in general, and I like Madcala, and that's just a great combo. And I also like the special powers. I like that it's not overly complex, back and forth. The rulebook is a sticking point, but man, I just like I like having chips. And also, I will say, if you like Wonderland's War, this has almost nothing to do with that other than the same universe. Yeah. They are almost not the same game at all. So keep that in mind, whether you like that or not.
As is shown, I think, right?
Right, yeah, it'll have no bearing on this.
Right,
Yeah.
and I like both, but they're very different ballparks. One's push your luck, pull from a bag. This one just attack the other person. And I think I'll gravitate towards some of the characters in this more than others. I really like the Jabberwocky. But I also love Tweedledum and Tweedledee. They're fantastic. It's just a lot of fun for me. So Yeah, your mileage may vary. There's very different opinions here, but for me, it is a 9. Well, there you go, folks. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the what's the other side? I was going to say the other. What's the under
Through the
rabbit hole?
Rabbit hole.
I couldn't think
God,
of the
upside
terminology
down?
there.
I don't know.
No, the rabbit's so different now. I'm Tom.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Camilla.
We want to say thank you to some of our GameFound backers. Thank you to the Bunny Bandits, Attila, Freya, and Pua. I wouldn't mess with those bunnies.
Speaking of the rabbit hole.
Xavier Arnador, Michael Hill, James Ward, and Tara and Bill Armrine of the Board Gaming Indie. Thank you guys for supporting us. Thank you all for watching. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you like this review or whatever you just watched, wasn't it amazing? Check out our channel, Dice Tower. We have all kinds of things. We review games, we do top 10s, we play games live. It's all about board games, but especially the people who play them. Check out Dice Tower YouTube channel.